We spend a lot of time here talking about AI and that time savings opportunity. You don't need a PhD in artificial intelligence to win back your time. You just need a few tools and a simplified workflow.
For sure. It really is a game changer. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fitz Franson Show. I'm Fitz.
And I'm Franson.
This is the show where we talk about leadership, business, growth, and what it actually takes to build something that lasts.
Yeah, without lying to yourself along the way. And today, we're talking about the weird, uneven, and frankly confusing market that every contractor is facing right now.
Man, isn't that the truth? We seem to be hearing it from just about everybody these days. Some guys are slammed and flushed with opportunity, and others are watching their lead flow kind of slowly dry up here. It's feast or famine out there, and the housing markets are diverging at this point. Some regions are slowing, and others seem to be heating up. The question is, are you ready to win in both?
Yeah, because if your strategy is the same in a hot market as it is in a cold one, you might already be losing. So today we're breaking down the practical sales and marketing moves for this split market. We're talking about how to sell value when buyers are hesitant and how to scale your systems when demand is surging.
That sounds good. So, Franson, let's just call it what it is. The U.S. Housing market it's uneven at best right now. So we're seeing reports that house price growth bounced back a little bit here in January, which sounds like great news, right? But more equity, more confidence, those types of things should be what we're seeing.
Yeah, and it's good news, but it's definitely not the whole story. On our side of things, this confidence can actually bring a flood of competition. And in regions where things are slower, that little bit of good news doesn't change the fact that homeowners are clutching their wallets tighter than ever in some cases. You're fighting tooth and nail for, it feels like, every single lead.
Yeah, and this is where we see so many contractors maybe getting it wrong. They're using the same ads, the same sales pitch, the same pricing strategy everywhere. They're trying to do that kind of one size fits all type solution in a market that is anything but that. So, Franson, you've been in the trenches with many of our customers or these guys for years now. Do you have a real world example you've seen maybe in the past or recently here of contractors, one who's been maybe crushing it in one city, but you go maybe 100 miles away and they're failing with the exact same playbook, so to speak?
Yeah, it actually reminds me of a client that we worked with. We'll call them the business Dave.
Okay.
Dave ran a coding company. We worked with a lot of coding companies over the years, and he was very established in a market that he was in. It was fast growing. It was the suburbs were growing, new homes going up, and just kind of the pieces fell into place. Some home shows came through that produced a lot of work for him. The phone was ringing off the hook. His whole process was built around speed and availability. Hey, you could be there tomorrow type of thing, get done in one day. I handle the whole process for you. And in that market, he was kind of the hero. So what a lot of business owners do is when they see opportunity for growth, they say, let's do it. Where else can we go? And so he decided to expand actually quite a ways away. It was a state or so over, but he had opportunity in that market. But just a completely different thing. Older homes, more price conscious homeowners. They were paying out of pocket, less likely to leverage financing. And he showed up with the exact same plan, same playbook, same ads, same pitch. The first couple of months were really hard. The homeowners there, they didn't actually care about speed as much as they cared about trust. They wanted to know who he was, see his local work, understand why his products were worth more than the other 3 quotes they had gotten. And his get it done now approach came off as pushy and desperate in this market. He went from being a hero to just another guy in a truck and couldn't figure out why. So he was using a hot market map in a cold market world.
Yeah, that's a good, honestly, perfect illustration of kind of what we're talking about here. In the hot markets, your problem maybe isn't necessarily getting leads. It's maybe managing the volume, the flow that's coming in through the pipe there, so to speak. Your systems tend to break or your customer service slips and maybe your reputation has a tendency to take a hit as a result. But in those slow markets, your problem is differentiation, right? How do you make yourself stand out amongst the crowd? You end up just, like you said, just becoming kind of a truck on the road and you're getting kind of ground down on price because you haven't really given those homeowners a reason to choose you or trust you, as you mentioned there, right? So, all right, for everyone listening, here's kind of a 50-second reality check, so to speak. If you're in a hot market, like the high demand suburbs we just mentioned, Your focus needs to be on systems. Can your intake process handle 50 leads a day? Is your follow-up automated? Can you deliver a world-class customer experience at scale? And if not, you're going to drown in that opportunity, which is crazy to think about, right? We all want more opportunity, but are you prepared for it?
Yeah. And then the opposite case, if you're in a slower market, say Northeast or parts of the Sun Belt, and your focus is going to have to be on the value. If you're selling windows, you need to stop selling windows and start selling energy savings. Stop selling a new kitchen and start selling the heart of the home. You have to reframe the conversation from cost to investment. And it's important to be reassessing your strategy based on the market. So if you can't do that, you're likely going to starve.
It makes perfect sense. So we have this divide, or this divided market rather, and now we're heading into the spring selling season. It's hard to believe because I still got about 4 inches of ice sitting outside my house right now and a kid running around downstairs, but we are going to be there before we know it. This is what we're calling the spring gauntlet, as you and I have been talking about it, Jay. The competition is about to get very fierce for all of us if it's not already there. Are your systems ready to go?
Yeah, this is where that preparation meets the opportunity. And we're talking about immediate actions. Tighten your lead follow-up scripts, verify your appointment setting process, do some quality testing on your website's content. The job galleries, are they up to date? Do they align with what is trending? What is being sold right now? This isn't like sexy stuff, right? But this is what separates the pros from the amateurs. Think back to your earlier career, and why don't you share what maybe biggest mistake you or someone you know has ever made going into a busy season unprepared? What did that chaos cost you or them? And not just in money, but in stress and sanity.
Ooh. It's a good question. Actually, I remember a specific time. I actually never forget it. It's one of the reasons you hear me preach all the time about the importance of capacity. It was one of my earlier stops, and we were fortunate in a sense, and then unfortunate in another. We landed a really huge marketing win. We had launched an ad campaign, and for whatever reason, it hit a nerve in our market. It just absolutely pounded this button, and it went viral, I guess, for us locally. I'm pretty old, so I'm not really sure what that term actually means, but the kids say it a lot. It sounds cool, right? So the phone started ringing for us off the hook, and it just wouldn't stop. For the first day, it was awesome. It was exciting. I mean, we were like high-fiving, celebrating. I mean, guys on the team were pumped.
Yeah.
By about day 3 or 4, it was basically a total nightmare that was brewing for us. We had leads coming in that we literally just could not get to, which is a really scary thing to think about because all of those cost money, and it was money just going down the drain for us. So we actually at times were struggling even just write estimates. I'm going to pause for a minute because I realized that might sound like, oh, who is, Fitz kind of thing. But when you think about the opportunity that's lost, it's really there. Not to mention, even like my best guy, he was running at a rate that was absolutely burning him out and was starting to spiral, so much so that the leads that he was going on were not even being captured the way that he was normally capturing them. And he was performance-wise spiraling out of control. We had customers that were ready to buy, but we were so disorganized, we couldn't even really get them a proper proposal on time. If I had to estimate, Jay, we probably lost somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, maybe close to like a 6-figure chance of like extra volume, if not more, at profitable work that month. Worse yet, though, the damage that it probably caused to our reputation, and I could tell that through some of the angry voicemails and a couple of the bad reviews from the people that we just couldn't get back to in time or couldn't even get to at all. Like, hey, they're so good, they don't even want our work. Don't bother calling them. These are the types of things we were getting. It really was a very brutal, painful, expensive lesson to learn. Opportunity without capacity is really, in my humble opinion, one of the fastest ways to really go out of business, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, man. And, we get it. Most contractors ignore capacity, or worse yet, aren't even really aware it's something they should be paying attention to. Thinking back on that time, Fitz, if it were today in the same way, do you think there's anything that would have helped you get through it differently or better now, even being as unprepared as you were?
Well, for sure. You talk about it all the time. It's AI, right? And I think that the advent of that here recently is a really powerful tool. And if I'm being honest, I'm just scratching the surface of what it's capable of helping out with. But
Mhm.
it would have at least at that point in time have lightened the load for us and probably bought us another at least week or two of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's really good. And most contractors feel like they don't have time to build complex systems, running from job to job. And that's why we spend a lot of time here talking about AI and that time savings opportunity. You don't need a PhD in artificial intelligence to win back your time. You just need a few tools and a simplified workflow.
For sure. It really is a game changer. It's definitely helped out with some of the things that you and I work on, and some of the things we've
Hmm.
helped some of our customers work on as well too. We're talking about using simple AI to, auto draft your follow-up text or emails, that type of thing, using it to generate maybe social media captions for a quick video you shot on a site, job site, something like that, using it
Hmm.
as a sales rep to summarize your appointment notes directly into your CRM. It's not like science fiction. Probably, again, I'm old, right? So like I thought it was when I was first introduced to it by you.
Yeah.
It's really, I think, what a lot of smart contractors are starting to do right now.
Yeah, it's funny that we're talking about this way to use AI in like text message responses. I got kind of a funny story. A friend of mine, his mother lives out of town, and you know what? We all love our mothers, but sometimes our mothers can tell us to do things, right? Even when we're
Yeah.
adults.
Uh-huh.
And his mother was making some demands on him that just weren't, feasible. He's got a wife and kids of his own and stuff like that. So he took her request and fed it to AI and said, how do I respond to my mother in loving kindness, but also with a firm hand? And his mother ended up having a conversation back and forth with an AI tool. But what was beautiful about it, and he was super excited, is that it actually let him portray his value, honor, and respect for his mother, but at the same time telling her no. So, funny things like that
I need
where
a minute. I gotta text my mom real quick.
yeah, yeah. But a good example in business is that customer that leaves the 1-star review. And you might have a gut response to be upset or impatient or justify yourself or whatever. Screen grab that negative review and say, hey, what's a good way to respond to this? I'm the business owner. This customer may or may not be telling the truth. Oftentimes they have a skewed version of what really happened. And so being able to communicate that well is good. So anyway, let's make it stupidly practical, right? So here's a few simple ideas to use AI in your day-to-day as a business owner. Take a 30-second video of a finished project, that after picture of a concrete coating, or after picture of a painted house or an installed new front door or something like that. And you can do a quick Google search and say, what's a great video editing software AI tool? We use one here called Opus Clip. We use a couple of other tools here and there as well. Adobe Premiere has added some AI functionality to their tool as well. But you can ask it to transcribe the video. You can ask it to write a couple of social media posts from it. And it can simplify the effort required to create the content. Now, what's interesting about AI is you have the first idea. It helps you clarify it, but you are also the deciding factor on what is quality or not. And so you start, it helps you build it, you finish it. So other tools, I mentioned the text message with my buddy's mom, ChatGPT or Claude. These are pretty popular names out there, but you can use them to draft a follow-up email. I know that Google already has Gemini inserted to email, and you can set it up to write out an auto draft ahead of time. These are things that don't take long to get into, but over the course of a week, you're going to be amazed at how much time they save you. So there's also a multitude of other tools out there that can help with systems building, reporting, analytics, and more. Plenty of platforms out there that are also that maybe you're familiar with, like Canva, that are adding AI to their tools. So Canva has a simple AI photo editor that's helpful. We use
Mhm.
Canva here as well. So I go on and on, Fitz, about AI. So stop me.
What? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's good stuff, man. It's interesting, and there's more and more that you start using that stuff, you can find some use cases for it. It's a helpful thing to make you a lot more efficient, especially in those times you feel a little overwhelmed. So
Mhm.
definitely take the opportunity to play with it for sure. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the opportunity to interrupt you and stop you here, and I want to shift gears and throw a hot take, so to speak, out there for our
Hot take.
listeners. So here you go. Something that might make some people uncomfortable. The phrase, or that phrase rather, your price is too high, and we were talking a little bit about this earlier today, that is, in my opinion, is not a rejection. We should probably look at more of it as an invitation, so to speak.
Oh, I'm listening, but an invitation for what, Fitz? To lower your price, maybe?
No, absolutely not. You know what? I'll use the phrase that we were talking about earlier. Stop being a bitch. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there's your real hot take for you.
Ah,
And I'll maybe make it a little bit more HR friendly as we're talking about it here, as you encouraged me to do so when we were actually
mhm.
recording today. It's an invitation to maybe reframe your value, right? Or
Okay.
reposition that value. The reality of it is when a customer says to you, your price is too high, they didn't tell you no and they didn't throw you out of the house. Right? They didn't
Mhm.
stop the conversation. That's the first thing that we need to realize in this point of the appointment or presentation or whatever you want to call it, right? What it
Sure.
truly is it's the customer saying, I don't understand why you're worth that much or why there is a difference between you and what else I've seen out there, right?
Yeah, okay.
Explain it to me. And 9 out of 10 reps fumble the ball right here. They drop it. And you're
Mhm.
right at the finish line. You're right at the goal line. They get defensive and they start slashing their price or defending why they're this, that, or the other. And they lose all control of the conversation at this point.
Okay, so you're saying the problem isn't the price, but it's the pitch?
Exactly. Yeah. Here's, I guess, the real hot take. If you are the cheapest, you've simply made yourself a commodity. And in a market, and especially in this market, commodities get absolutely slaughtered. If
Yeah.
you can't confidently explain why your price is your price and why it is actually the homeowner's least risky option, then you don't have a pricing problem. You have a communication problem, period.
Period. Strong word. So I'm going to push back a little on that. Fitz, I agree in principle, but in some of these slower markets, people are genuinely price sensitive. They have a budget, and that's it. So are you telling a guy he should walk away from a job he needs because the homeowner can't afford his premium service? Isn't some money better than no money?
Look, again, we were talking about this a little earlier that here on a regular basis, well, in our market or in this part, and well, in your area, it's different than here. Both you still have
Mm-hmm.
human beings there, and human beings still have the same needs, wants, and no matter where you are, right? We all make decisions the same way. So,
Mm-hmm.
what I am saying is that taking a job at a loss or with no margin is absolutely a slow death. It kills your
Mm-hmm.
cash flow, it burns out your team, and it costs or it sets rather a precedent that you're the cheap guy. And people don't like to
Ouch.
do cheap things to their home. So
Yeah.
I'd rather a contractor do one profitable job than 3 jobs that they barely break even, right? They're biting their fingernails hoping that nobody screws up anything on the job so that they can make a
Mm-hmm.
penny to keep the lights
Yeah.
on at their house, right? You need to have the courage to say no, to protect your standard. That's really the only way to build a business that lasts.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the courage to say no is maybe more important than the hustle to say yes.
In this market, I mean, in any market, truthfully, absolutely. Every single time.
Sure. Oh, good stuff. So we've covered a lot today, Fitz, from diverging markets to the spring gauntlet, using AI as your secret weapon, and even your hot take on pricing.
Yeah. Key takeaway is this: you can't use an old map to navigate a new world. The strategies that worked 2 years
Mhm.
ago will get you slaughtered in 2026. You have to
Mhm.
be agile, you have to be smart, and you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Embrace it.
Yeah. So if you listeners out there stuck with us this far, we hope you got a couple of takeaways from this. Your market dictates your strategy, your systems determine your capacity, and your confidence determines your price.
Well said, sir. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we always appreciate you ringing the bell and liking and subscribing and letting some of your friends and colleagues know where to find us.
Yeah. And if you didn't, well, you know the drill.
Yeah, Jay, always a pleasure, sir.
Yeah, likewise. We'll see you guys next time on the Fitz and Franson Show.
Anyone listening out there, make sure you tune in next time. We're going to be talking about one thing that's quietly killing more contracting businesses than any economy: bad leads and price shoppers, or any of those things combined. We're going to be talking about the silent killer in your business, your own team or team culture. We're going to show you how to build a team that sticks and turn your crew into your biggest sales advantage. You definitely don't want to miss that one. So take it easy, everyone. Happy hunting.